Steinberg Cubase 12 Pro. We start lesson 22. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, so as not to miss new videos. And we start lesson 22. Quantizing MIDI event ends. You can quantize the MIDI event end positions. Prerequisite. You have set up a quantize grid on the Quantize Presets pop-up menu on the project window toolbar. Procedure. Perform one of the following actions. In the key editor, select the MIDI events that you want to quantize. In the project window, select a MIDI part. Select Edit, Advanced Quantize MIDI event ends. Result. The ends of the MIDI events are moved to the nearest grid positions. Quantizing MIDI event lengths. Quantizing audio event starts. Quantizing audio event starts. You can quantize the audio event start positions. Prerequisite. You have set up a quantize grid on the Quantize Presets pop-up menu on the project window toolbar. Procedure. In the project window, select an audio event, a sliced loop, or an audio part. Select Edit, Quantize. Result. The event snap point, or, if not available, the start of the audio event, is quantized. Event starts that do not match exact note positions are moved to the closest grid positions. Note. If you use the quantize function on an audio part, the starts of the events inside the part are quantized. Quantizing MIDI event ends. Quantizing audio event lengths, audio warp quantizing. Quantizing audio event lengths, audio warp quantizing. You can quantize an audio event or an audio selection range by applying time stretch to the content of the audio event. Procedure. Perform one of the following actions. Select the audio event that you want to quantize. Select a range of the event that you want to quantize. On the toolbar, activate Audio Warp Quantize on, off. Perform one of the following actions. Click Quantize Presets, and select the Quantize Grid preset from the pop-up menu. Click Open Quantize Panel, and define the Quantize Grid with the available parameters. Select Edit, Quantize. Result. The audio event is quantized, that is, its warp markers are aligned with the quantized grid by applying time stretch, and the audio sections between the warp markers are stretched or compressed to fit into the time interval that you set up on the Quantize Presets pop-up menu. Note. If you use a quantized value of 1/4 on audio that is based on 16th notes, the warp markers at the 1/4 note positions are quantized to the grid, and the remaining warp markers are moved, keeping the relative distances between the warp markers. Related links. Quantize panel. Slices. Quantizing audio event starts. Quantizing multiple audio tracks. Quantizing multiple audio tracks. You can quantize multiple audio tracks at the same time. Procedure. In the global track controls area of the track list, click Add Track. Click Folder. Click Add Track. Move all audio tracks that you want to quantize into the folder track. Note. The audio on all tracks must have the same start and end positions. Select the folder track, and activate group editing in the track list. In the event display, select one of the events. All audio events in the folder track are selected. On the project window toolbar, click Open Quantize Panel to open the Quantize panel. Make your changes in the Slice Rules section of the Quantize panel, and click Slice. The audio events in the Edit group are sliced. Make your changes in the Quantize section of the Quantize panel, and click Quantize. The sliced events are quantized. Optional, to correct overlaps or gaps in the quantized audio, make your changes in the Crossfades section of the Quantize panel, and click Crossfade. Result. The audio events are quantized. Related links. Quantize panel. Group editing mode. Quantizing audio event lengths, audio warp quantizing. Audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. Audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. You can use warp markers for quantizing multiple audio tracks. However, audio warp quantizing does not maintain phase coherence. Procedure. In the global track controls area of the track list, click Add Track. Click Folder. Click Add Track. Move all audio tracks that you want to quantize into the folder track. Note. The audio on all tracks must have the same start and end positions. Select the folder track, and activate group editing in the track list. In the event display, select one of the events. All audio events in the folder track are selected. On the project window toolbar, activate Audio Warp Quantize on, off. Click Open Quantize Panel to open the Quantize panel. Make your changes in the Warp Marker Creation Rules section of the Quantize panel, and click Create. Make your changes in the Quantize Settings section of the Quantize panel, and click Quantize. Result. Audio warp quantizing is applied to all tracks in the Edit group. Related links. Quantize panel. Group editing mode. Quantizing multiple audio tracks. Quantize panel. Quantize panel. The Quantize panel allows you to define how to quantize audio or MIDI to the grid or to a groove. Depending on what method you choose, different parameters are shown. To open the Quantize panel, perform one of the following actions. Click Open Quantize Panel on the toolbar. Select Edit Quantize Panel. Audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. Quantize presets. Quantize presets. The Quantize presets are displayed at the top of the Quantize panel. Here, you can load and save presets that include all settings for quantizing. Select Preset. Allows you to select a preset. Save preset. Allows you to save the current settings as presets, so that they become available on all Quantize presets pop-up menus. Remove preset. Allows you to remove the selected preset. Rename preset. Opens a dialog where you can rename the selected preset. Restore factory presets. Allows you to restore the factory presets. Quantize panel. Creating groove quantize presets. Creating groove quantize presets. You can create a groove quantize preset based on hit points that you have created in the sample editor. Procedure. In the project window, double-click the audio event from which you want to extract the timing. The sample editor opens. Open the hit points section. The hit points for the audio event are automatically detected and displayed. Open the create section and click groove. The groove is extracted. Result. The groove is extracted from the audio event and made available in the Quantize presets pop-up menu on the project window toolbar. After completing this task, open the Quantize panel and save the groove as a preset. Related links. Creating a groove quantize preset. Quantize presets. Quantize presets. Options for quantizing to a musical grid. Options for quantizing to a musical grid. You can use the musical grid to quantize your recorded music. To access the options for quantizing to a musical grid, select a musical time format from the Select Preset pop-up menu on the Quantize panel. The following options are available. Grid. Allows you to select the basic value for the quantize grid. Swing. Offsets every second position in the grid, creating a swing or shuffle feel. Note. Swing is only available if grid is set to a straight value and tuplet is deactivated. Catch range. Allows you to set a value that determines that quantizing only affects audio or MIDI within the set distance from the grid lines. This is reflected in the grid display. Safe range. Creates a safe zone before and after the quantized positions. If you specify a distance in ticks, 120 ticks equals 1/16th note, events within this zone are not quantized. As a result, slight variations are kept. Grid display. Shows the quantized grid. Quantized audio or MIDI is moved to the positions indicated by the vertical grid lines. Tuplet. Creates rhythmically more complex grids by dividing the grid into smaller steps, thereby creating n-tuplets. Rough. Allows you to set a distance in ticks, so that your audio or MIDI is quantized to random positions within the specified distance from the quantized grid. This allows for slight variations and, at the same time, prevents your audio or MIDI from ending up too far away from the grid. Soft quantize mode. Applies a loose quantization so that your audio or MIDI moves only part of the way to the closest quantized grid position. The quantized strength value to the right determines how close your audio or MIDI moves towards the grid. Note. Soft quantizing is based on the current quantized positions and not on the original event positions. You can repeatedly use the soft quantize mode to gradually move your audio or MIDI closer to the quantized grid until you have found the right timing. Audio warp. Quantizes the content of your audio event by applying time stretch. The warp markers are aligned with the defined quantized grid. MIDI CC. Automatically moves controllers related to MIDI notes, pitch bend, etc., with the notes when these are quantized. Reset quantize. Resets your audio or MIDI to its original, unquantized state. Important. This function has no effect on an event that was moved manually. Auto. Immediately applies any changes to the selected parts or events. A way of using this feature is to set up a playback loop and to adjust the settings until you are satisfied with the result. Quantize. Applies your settings. Creating groove quantize presets. Options for quantizing to a groove. Options for quantizing to a groove. You can generate a timing grid from a MIDI part or an audio loop and use this groove to quantize your recorded music. This way, you can recreate the rhythmic feel of this specific event or part. To access the options for quantizing to a groove, select a MIDI part from an audio loop, an audio event with hit points, or sliced audio. Perform one of the following actions. Drag the part or event to the grid display in the middle of the quantize panel. Select Edit, Advanced Quantize, Create Groove Quantize preset. The following options become available. Position. Determines how much the timing of the groove affects the music. Velocity, MIDI only. Determines how much the velocity values within the groove affect the music. Note. Not all grooves contain velocity information. Length, MIDI only. Allows you to specify how much the lengths of the notes are affected by the groove. Note. For drums, the length setting is ignored. Safe range. Allows you to create a safe zone before and after the quantized positions. If you specify a distance in ticks, 120 ticks equals 1/16th note, events within this zone are not quantized. As a result, slight variations are kept. Grid display. Shows the quantized grid. Quantized audio or MIDI is moved to the positions indicated by the vertical grid lines. Pre-cue. Allows you to select a musical grid to which you can quantize your audio or MIDI first. This moves the notes closer to their groove destination. Note. If you apply a shuffle groove to a 16th note pattern, for example, set up a pre-quantized value of 16 to straighten up the timing before applying the groove quantizing. Max move. Allows you to select a note value to specify a maximum distance for audio or MIDI movement. Orig, position. Sets the original starting position of the quantized material as the starting point of the quantizing. This allows you to synchronize material that does not start from bar 1 of the project. Rough quantize. Allows you to set a distance in ticks so that your audio or MIDI is quantized to random positions within the specified distance from the quantized grid. This allows for slight variations and, at the same time, prevents your audio or MIDI from ending up too far away from the grid. Soft quantize mode. Applies a loose quantization so that your audio or MIDI moves only part of the way to the closest quantized grid position. The quantized strength value to the right determines how close your audio or MIDI moves towards the grid. Note: soft quantizing is based on the current quantized positions and not on the original event positions. You can repeatedly use the soft quantize mode to gradually move your audio or MIDI closer to the quantized grid until you have found the right timing. Audio warp. Quantizes the content of your audio event by applying time stretch. The warp markers are aligned with the defined quantized grid. MIDI CC. Automatically moves controllers related to MIDI notes, pitch bend, etc., with the notes when these are quantized. Reset quantize. Resets your audio or MIDI to its original, unquantized state. Important: this function has no effect on an event that was moved manually. Auto. Immediately applies any changes to the selected parts or events. A way of using this feature is to set up a playback loop and to adjust the settings until you are satisfied with the result. Quantize. Applies your settings. Related links. Creating groove quantize presets. Options for quantizing to a musical grid. Options for quantizing multiple audio tracks. Options for quantizing multiple audio tracks. If you quantize multiple audio tracks, the slice rules section becomes available in the quantize panel. Use it to determine how the audio events are sliced at the hit points. To access the slice rules section, move your audio tracks to a folder track, activate group editing, and open the quantize panel. Hit point tracks. Lists all audio tracks of your edit group that have hit points. Priority. Click and drag to the right or to the left to specify a priority. The hit points of the track with the highest priority determine slice positions for the audio on all tracks. If the zoom factor is high enough, cutting positions are marked by vertical lines in the project window. Range. Allows you to specify the distance at which two hit points on different tracks are considered to mark the same beat. Offset. Allows you to set an offset that determines how much earlier, in relation to the actual hit point, an audio event is sliced. This allows for slight variations of the cutting position. This is useful if you want to create crossfades at the slice positions. Furthermore, it helps to avoid cutting off signals on tracks that do not contain any hit points. Audio warp quantize on, off. Activate this button to quantize the content of your audio event by applying time stretch. This enables the warp marker creation rules section, which allows you to specify a priority. The hit points of the track with the highest priority determine the warp marker positions for the audio on all tracks. Slice. Slices all audio events of the edit group and sets the event snap points to the position of the hit point with the highest priority. Reset. Undoes the slicing and restores the original state of the audio events. Related links. Options for audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. Crossfade section. Audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. Group editing mode. Options for quantizing to a groove. Crossfade section. Crossfade section. The crossfade section becomes available after you have sliced the audio events. The functions in this section allow you to correct the overlaps or the gaps that might appear due to the repositioning of your audio. Clicking crossfade cuts the end of the first event at the start position of the following event, in case of overlaps, and stretches the second event until it starts at the end of the previous event, in case of gaps. For seamless transitions, applying crossfades after closing the gaps. Use the following parameters. Open Crossfade Editor. Opens the Crossfade Editor, where you can specify curve type, length, and other parameters for your crossfades. Nudge crossfade left/right. Moves the fade area in the audio event to the left or to the right in steps of 1 millisecond. This is useful if the offset value in the slice rules section was not high enough, and you want to avoid that the crossfade cuts an attack. Length. Specifies the length of the crossfade area. Related links. Crossfade Editor. Options for quantizing multiple audio tracks. Options for audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. Options for audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. The warp marker creation rules section becomes available when you activate audio warp quantizing for multiple audio tracks. Priority. In this column, you can define a priority for each track. The track with the highest priority defines where the warp markers are created. If you set up the same priority for several tracks, the warp marker position is defined by the track that contains the first hit point within the specified range. This is performed for each individual warp marker position. To specify a priority, click and drag to the right or to the left. If no star is shown, the hit points on the corresponding track are not taken into account. Range. Two hit points on different tracks are considered to mark the same beat if they are located within a certain distance from each other. The range parameter specifies this distance. The following rules apply. If one of the tracks has a higher priority, its hit point is used to create the warp marker. If the tracks have the same priority, the first hit point in the range is used. Reset. Undoes the creation of warp markers. Audio warp quantize on, off. Activates/deactivates audio warp quantizing. This enables the slice rules section. Create. Creates warp markers for all the tracks. Related links. Options for quantizing multiple audio tracks. Audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. Group editing mode. Crossfade section. Fades, crossfades, and envelopes. Fades, crossfades, and envelopes. Fades allow you to gradually increase or decrease the volume at the start or at the end of audio events or audio clips, and to create smooth transitions. You can create the following fades. Fade-ins/fade outs. Fade-ins and fade-outs allow you to gradually increase or decrease the volume of audio events or audio clips. Fade-ins and fade-outs can be either event-based or clip-based. Event-based fades are calculated in real time when you play back audio events. You can create different fade curves for several events, even if they refer to the same audio clip. Note: the more event-based fades you apply, the more processing power is used. Clip-based fades are applied to the audio clip. Events that refer to the same clip will have the same fades. Crossfades. Crossfades allow you to create smooth transitions for consecutive audio events on the same track. Crossfades are always event-based. Auto fades. Auto fades allow you to automatically apply short fade-ins and fade-outs to the events on specific audio tracks. You can also apply them globally on all audio tracks. This creates smooth transitions between events. Event envelopes. Event envelopes are volume curves for audio events or audio clips. They allow for volume changes not only at the start or the end, but also within the audio or clip. They can be either event-based or clip-based. Related links. Event-based fades. Creating clip-based fades. Crossfades. Auto fades and crossfades. Event envelopes. Options for audio warp quantizing multiple audio tracks. Event-based fades. Event-based fades. You can create event-based fade-ins and fade-outs. These are calculated in real time when you play back audio events. You can create different fade curves for several events, even if they refer to the same audio clip. There are several ways to create event-based fades. By using the event handles. By using range selections. You can edit event-based fades in the fade dialogs. Related links. Creating and editing fades with the handles. Creating and editing fades with the range selection tool. Fade dialog for event-based fades. Fades, crossfades, and envelopes. Creating and editing fades with the handles. Creating and editing fades with the handles. You can create and edit event-based fade-ins and fade-outs using the event handles. This gives you a visual feedback and allows you to apply the same fade type to several selected events. Procedure. Select the audio events for which you want to create fades, and point at one of them with the mouse. Triangular fade handles become visible in the upper left and right corners. Perform one of the following actions. To create a fade-in, drag the left fade handle to the right. To create a fade-out, drag the right fade handle to the left. Result. The fade is applied and displayed in the event waveform. If you select multiple events, the same fade is applied to all selected events. Note: you can change the length of the fades at any time by dragging the handles. Event-based fades. Event handles.